tutorial is going to cover static methods. Before we begin, make sure you have Java downloaded on your computer. You can check by running java-version in your terminal. And make sure that you have IntelliJ downloaded on your computer. You can also download any other text editor that you want to use for editing your code, but everything for the Java tutorials is going to use IntelliJ. And download the figure.txt document onto your desktop. And that's going to be attached in the description to this video. It's also suggested that you watch the previous Java tutorials just so that you can be up to date with what this tutorial is going to cover. So, static methods. Some vocab first. An algorithm is a list of steps for solving a problem. And a structured algorithm is a solution split into coherent tasks. A static method is a named group of statements, and procedural decomposition is the process of dividing a problem into methods. So we're going to start with an algorithm exercise. Take a few minutes, you can pause the video if you want or don't, and write an algorithm for baking and icing a cake. This is the algorithm that I came up with. It's based on the idea that somebody's baking a cake for the first time. There's obviously some steps missing here, so the one that you put together might have been a little bit more detailed, for instance mentioning what the dry ingredients are. But for our exercise, the steps are going to be mix the dry ingredients, cream the butter and sugar, beat in the eggs, stir in the dry ingredients, preheat the oven, grease cake pans, pour cake batter into pans, put cake in oven, set the timer, allow the cake to bake, mix the ingredients for frosting, take cake out of oven, and put icing on cake. Problems with the algorithm. It has a lack of structure, it has lots of small steps, so it's going to be hard to remember, and it's redundant. What happens if we want to make two cakes in sequence? You wouldn't want to have to re-say all the steps that are required for making two different cakes. So this is a more structured version of the algorithm. It has 4 main steps: making the cake batter, preparing the cake to bake, baking the cake, and decorating the cake. And you can see that within each of those 4 major steps, we have the same sub-steps that were on the previous slide. So structure removes redundancy. Here's an example of what it would look like to bake 2 cakes with the redundancy removed. We would 1, make the cake batter, and then 2A, prepare the cake to bake, 2B, prepare the cake to bake, so that's cake 1 and then cake 2, bake the cake, and then decorate the cake. So this makes it a lot simpler to bake 2 cakes as opposed to having to say all of the steps for how to prepare a cake 2 separate times. And then this structure leads to methods. So if we were going to write a program to bake a cake, each place we split the algorithm to create more structure would become its own method. So we would have a method for making the cake batter, preparing the cake to bake, baking the cake, and decorating the cake. So 4 methods total. This is what the code looks like for a static method. The method declaration is public static void, and all of our methods are going to be void for now. And then the method name, open and close parentheses, and then open and close brace. And all the statements go inside of the braces for that method. And then to call it, inside of our main, you would just do method name, open parentheses, close parentheses, semicolon. And that's it. So a note on method names. Method names should follow the same convention as variable names. They start with a lowercase letter, they can contain letters and numbers, and they follow the camel case style. So anytime there's a word break, the letter becomes capitalized, like this. Using methods. 1. Design the algorithm. So this means look at the structure and figure out which commands are repeated. Decide what the important tasks are overall. And you should do this before writing any code. During some of the examples I'm going to do, I won't do it before writing any code, just so you can see what the process would look like if you had to do it after writing some code. Declare or write down the methods, and arrange the So that's arranging statements into groups and giving each group a name. And then call or run the methods. And the program's main method will execute other methods to perform an overall task. Important points about methods. Methods can call other methods. So you could have sub-methods for the main tasks if you wanted. And then methods can also be called as many times as needed / wanted throughout the course of a program running. Static method walkthrough. So we're going to write a program to print out this figure. So I have this figure.txt here. And this is linked in the description for this video. And what I'm going to do actually is open up my terminal, and it's on my desktop. And if I do ls here, I can see that I have idea projects. That's where my projects for IntelliJ are stored. So I'm going to cd into idea projects, and then cd into lunch and learn, and then cd into source, which is where all of my all my project files actually live. And I'm going to make dir for static methods. So now I have the static methods package, and then cd into static methods, and I'm going to move desktop figure.txt to period or the current directory. And now that file is inside this directory that I've just made. So I'm going to exit out of this terminal and then open up my IntelliJ so I can start working on it. It's going to load. Okay, and I want to do the Lunch and Learn project. And I want to get this configured so my slides are in one half and my IntelliJ is on the other. Double click on this tab to get my sidebar back. And then I have the static methods package. And I'm going to say new Java class. And I'm going to call it figure. I'm going to go ahead and open figure.txt here. Okay, so I'm going to want to print out, the first thing I'm going to do is do the unstructured solution. So I'm just going to print out this entire figure. So I can do Alt to get these multiple cursors. I'm going to do system.out.println quotes. And then do Alt again to get the multiple cursors here. And do ending quotes, close parentheses, semicolon. So now these are all the print statements I'm going to need in my actual .java class. And I did it this way so that I wouldn't get any weird spacing issues if I just copied the figure directly into my Java class with the tabbing and such. So inside here, I need my main method. So I'm going to do public static void main string parts. And then now I'm going to copy and paste all of these println statements. So what we're seeing here, right, is this orange. It's a string literal. And it's saying that the slash quotes is like it's trying to print a quote, right? Because slash quote is an escape character. So everywhere that I have a slash, I need to put in a second slash. So slash, oh backslash, another one here, backslash, here, backslash, here, backslash, here, backslash. And now I can get these to the right level of indentation. Okay, so now I can do run, and I want to do figure. It's processing. Oops, I missed one of the backslashes. I forgot about them on the bottom part. So slash, 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 slash. Okay, and one more here. Okay. So here is the figure that I wanted. But as you can tell from this, there's a lot of redundancy, right? So the first step I'm going to do, so I had it all in the main at first. The next thing is going to be a structured solution with redundancy. So I'm going to split each section of this into its own method. First one being egg. So I'm going to do public static void egg. And I'm going to move all of this into egg. And here I'm going to call egg. And then there's the next one's going to be teacup. So public static void teacup. And that's this part of the figure. And then I'm going to call teacup here. And see, it's nice because IntelliJ auto-completed that for me. The next one is stop sign. So I'm going to do public static void stop sign. And that's all these print statements. Stop sign. And the final one is hat. So I'm going to do public static void hat. And then call hat here. And now, if I hit run again, I get the same figure as before, but my main method looks a lot cleaner. And it's a lot easier to tell what I can expect to happen whenever I run the code. But now there's still a lot of redundancy, right? This section is the same as this, which is the same as this. So now we're going to write a structured solution without redundancy. So the first thing is going to be this top part of the egg. So I'm going to do public static void egg top. And that's these three statements. So I'm going to cut and paste. I'm going to call egg top here. And anywhere that I see these three lines, I'm going to replace it with egg top. So here, egg top, and here, egg top. And then the next thing is there's this egg bottom, so these two lines. So I'm going to do public static void egg bottom. And cut and paste those two lines in. And everywhere where this is, I'm going to call egg bottom. So here, bottom, and here, egg bottom. I'm going to include this too, because there was a new line in both places for egg bottom. And then the final one is this break line is repeated exactly the same in both places. So I'm going to create public static void break line. And it's just going to be this line. One. Now if I hit play, it's loading. Again, it's the exact same output. And actually, I messed up a little bit, right? Because I put a new line character with the egg bottom, and so now there's extra space here. And I should have thought about that whenever I was changing it. So I'm going to take this space out of there and just put back the space where it belongs, because it only should have gone for 2 of the places where the egg bottom was. So now the figure matches exactly. And there's no spot on this figure that's printed with a println more than once. Right? And by looking at the code, I can tell exactly what's going to happen. From the main, I'm going to have an egg, then a teacup, then a stop sign, and then a hat. In egg, I know that egg is egg top and egg bottom. I know that a teacup is an egg bottom with a break line. I know that a stop sign is an egg top and then the word stop and an egg bottom. I know a hat is an egg top and then a break line. And then these are just the sub-figures that make up this one larger figure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way so we can focus on the slides. So for practice for later, we're going to write the 12 Days of Christmas program. And the goal is to write a program that uses static methods to print out the 12 Days of Christmas song in such a way that no line is printed using a system.out.println call more than once. So things to consider for that are what to make a method and when to call the methods. And that's it. I hope that was helpful. There's going to be a solution video after this for the 12 Days of Christmas.